Well, let's get you
There's a
outside
number of
first.
people that also came out. One, it was so sick she fell. We had to get
I
paramedics.
totally understand that, but at the same
You know,
time,
this is not humane.
There are many sick and twisted horror movies out there, from the likes of Cabin Fever to The Last House on the Left and of course Hostel. Torture porn is an incredibly popular subgenre in horror, however, there are many movies that crossed the line and resulted in audience members walking out before the credits even rolled. These are the top 5 horror movies audiences couldn't sit through. Let's jump in. In at number 5, The House That Jack Built. Now when you see Lars von Trier listed as the director of a movie, you know that that film isn't exactly going to be enjoyable or an easy experience to get through, that's for certain. I mean, the films under his belt go as follow: Breaking the Waves, The Idiots, Dancer in the Dark, Dogville, Antichrist, Melancholia and Nymphomaniac, to name a few. All very challenging movies to sit through, particularly The Idiots. That was the closest I've ever come to walking out of a film. It was so offensive. So offensive. Melancholia is perhaps the easiest to get through simply because it is the most mainstream and tosses the Dogma Manifesto out of the window. Now, released in 2018 and directed by Von Trier, The House That Jack Built stars Matt Dillon, Uma Thurman, Riley Coe and Jeremy Davis, and follows Jack, played by Dillon, a serial killer who commits a slew of murders in the state of Washington over a 12-year period. The movie is far more of a stomach churner than his previous movies, barring Antichrist, which needs an entire list just for itself. Throughout the movie, Jack commits some truly vile acts, to innocents, to animals, and more that I definitely can't discuss on YouTube. The movie premiered at Cannes following a multi-year ban on the director after he said he sympathized with Hitler. Never forget, that clip still makes my entire body cringe. I just watched it before coming down here. I'm not the same. Now, when The House That Jack Built screened at Cannes, people walked out, and not just a couple of people. No, over 100 people walked out of the theatre, with many of them turning to Twitter to state how disgusting and vomitive the movie was, even going as far as to state that it should never have been made. The movie was apparently so vile that it was forbidden from competing for the grand prize at the film festival, so instead it screened outside of the competition in order to avoid any controversies, like Antichrist. Before we jump into number 4, be sure to hit the like button. It really helps us out a lot. In at number 4 we have Revenge. Any movie centering on assault is always a tough one to sit through, that's for sure. Irreversible still keeps me up at night. That movie is truly the most disturbing thing I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of horrific. Released in 2017 and directed by Coralie Fargy, Revenge is a French revenge horror movie that follows a young woman, Jen, who is assaulted by 3 men and left for dead in the middle of the desert. However, when she recovers, she seeks vengeance upon her attackers. The movie is a bloody battle between the attackers and Jen, and it truly ascends to levels you never expected it to go. One particular moment that had audience members feeling physically sick and resulting in one viewer having a seizure in the middle of the theatre involved one of the attackers stepping on a large piece of glass and having to remove it from his foot. The lead of the movie, Matilda Lutz, also stated that that scene made her feel weird. Now, if this particular moment doesn't affect you, there are many more moments that might, including someone being impaled on a tree, another person getting stabbed in the eyes, and then of course the intense and bloody face-off at the end of the movie. There is so much blood in this movie, it is almost excessive. Revenge is incredibly brutal, and if someone has a medical emergency halfway through, you can only imagine how horrific it must be. You have been warned, saying that though it does have a fantastic feminist spin. So that's something. In at number 3 we have The Green Inferno. Now, I can personally say that even I found The Green Inferno hard to sit through. Not impossible, but certainly hard. There were many moments that had me feeling nauseous and even more that had me covering my eyes. Released in 2013 and directed by Eli Roth, the man behind Cabin Fever and Hostel, The Green Inferno pays homage to Italian cannibal films, specifically Cannibal Holocaust. The film itself follows a group of activists who are forced to fight for survival when they are captured by a cannibalistic tribe. Now, it is quite clear going into the movie that you're not going to be greeted by something pleasant. That's not Eli Roth's MO. If you have ever seen Hostel, you should know this. He loves torture porn, and the more blood and gore the better. However, Eli Roth truly pushes the boundaries with The Green Inferno, and unless you're a horror veteran, you likely won't make it through the entire movie, that's for sure. The threats that are made in this movie regarding mutilation of specific parts of the body, disgusting. I can't even say it, that's how bad it is. From start to finish, the Green Inferno is a misery fest, filled to the brim with sadism and gore, and if you find you can't make it through the whole thing, that's okay, because funnily enough, that is exactly what Eli Roth intended. In an interview with Rolling Stone, he stated, I quote, "If I've really done my job as a director, nobody can actually watch your movie. You don't want people walking out of a movie, you want them running out of the theatre screaming. When that happens, that's like a standing ovation for me." The film was so effective due to its use of practical effects as well as shooting on location with real members of the Amazon's native population. If you think you can make it through the movie, go check it out, but trust me when I say it is a challenge, and you will be thinking about it long after the credits roll. Coming in at number 2, The Woman.
Well, let's get you a number of people that also came out. One, it was so sick she fell. We had to get paramedics.
I totally understand that, but at the same
You know,
time,
this is not humane.
If you didn't quite know what was going on in that clip, I'll happily explain it to you. Essentially, this guy walked out of the screening of The Woman at the Sundance Film Festival and got very, very upset about what he had just seen on screen. He describes one woman leaving the movie feeling so sick she fell and paramedics had to help her. He also goes on to describe the movie as inhumane and does not believe the film should have ever been selected for the festival. He gets very upset, but the Sundance workers handle the situation incredibly well. Anyway, that just gives you a small taste of the impact this movie had on people. Released in 2011 and directed by McPhee, The Woman stars Pollyanna McIntosh as a feral woman from a violent clan who is captured by a lawyer and chained up in his home, where he attempts to forcibly tame her. It is revealed over the course of the movie that the family who kidnapped the woman are incredibly dysfunctional, with the son, Brian, enjoying inflicting pain on others. The movie depicts the madness of this family perfectly and shows what levels of depravity they will go to in order to get what they want. The focus at times isn't so much the woman, but more so the dynamic of this dysfunctional family. However, saying that the acts performed on this woman by father and son are absolutely disgusting, with the torment being unending and unforgiving. You'll have an incredibly hard time, almost impossible time getting through this movie, and it truly is one of the more disturbing films out there, that's for sure. It's not for the faint-hearted. And finally, in at number 1 we have Raw. Raw is perhaps one of the most difficult horror movies for anybody to sit through, and I'm not confusing it with that weird Melanie Griffiths movie spelled R-O-A-R, like a lion roar. This one's something else. Raw is perhaps one of the most difficult horror movies for anybody to sit through, with many walking out of the movie theatre and a handful even throwing up, and some even passing out in the middle of the theatre. Yes, that's how disturbing this horror movie truly is. Released in 2016 and directed by Julia Ducournau, Raw follows a young vegetarian woman who is in her first year of veterinary school. However, after she tastes meat for the very first time, she develops an intense craving for flesh. Lovely stuff. However, she can't quite seem to satiate her desire for meat, with chicken not doing the trick, or even a hamburger. No, what she wants is human flesh. Now, there was quite literally just one scene that had everyone's stomach churning, and that was when our protagonist, Justine, eats her sister's finger after she accidentally cuts it off. When this moment played on screen at the Toronto International Film Festival, 2 viewers passed out completely, resulting in an ambulance being called to the festival. However, these 2 weren't the only ones to find the film hard to get through, or should I say impossible. When Raw screened at the Cannes Film Festival, a friend of the director passed out as well. Yes, this film just results in a series of people passing out, almost like in Stand By Me. When one person throws up, they all throw up. It should be noted that the finger scene is far from the worst thing you'll see in Raw. It's just the beginning, and if you can't get through that scene, it's best to just turn it off, in my opinion. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any horror movies that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 best horror movie monsters in terrible movies, part 2. Samantha Beckett said, "God, this girl's boring, makes me want to go to sleep. She's got no personality, rest of you guys are cool though." Yeah, you did comment. Okay, to be fair, you commenting on a video where I was definitely having a breakdown. Can confirm I left that day. But I am pretty boring on camera. But that's my vibe. It's not giving a shit. That's my vibe. But that's your opinion. That's fine. You don't have to like me. I don't know you. Last Tot said, "Respect, Lucy." Thanks, at least you respect me. Not many others do. Red Comrade of Steel 1974 said, "Lucy McPhee, all monsters in the universe will kneel to the Great Pale Queen." Indeed they will. Get down on your knees. Anthony Long said, "Looking stunning, Queen Lucy. Have you ever done a scariest music videos list? I think the video for Black Hole Sun is still the worst nightmare fuel ever filmed." We have never done it. Don't know if we will do it. Don't know if we can do it. you know, copyright. Maybe one day though, never say never. Jack Gunner said, screw you, Lucy. Screw you, Jack. I mean, if you don't agree with my list, you don't agree with my list, but don't come for me. Steve Cass said, it's so refreshing to see videos on new topics and not the repeat of the same thing. It's obvious that Lucy does her homework. Thank you, I do my homework, and it is nice doing brand new topics. It's nice doing more movie lists. I enjoy it. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see you later. In at number 5, we have no, that's not what it is. The movie premiered at it's Cannes Film Festival, right? Not Cannes. Cannes.
I know it's Cannes.
It's Cannes?
It's French, it's Cannes.
Cannes.
But you say
But I've heard Cannes. But I've heard Cannes as well. Or am I crazy? I just made
Look it up.
Cannes Film Festival? Cannes Film Festival. I've heard both, or unless I'm thinking.
No, the city in France is called Cannes. So it's
The city is called Cannes.
So it's the Cannes Film Festival. Like,
Cannes
all
Film
of
Festival. Okay. I swear I've heard Cannes. Am I just crazy? Probably.
Sometimes the S people just don't.
Cannes. Irreversible still keeps me up at night. That movie is truly the... He gets very upset, but the Sundance workers handle the... I mean, could you be louder out there? Could you?
Every once in a while, sometimes like. So sorry.
Oh, it's the cafeteria.
I guess you want me to shut the doors.
It might be okay.
Yeah.
Let's... Oh my god. Everyone is loud. Everyone should whisper. Some people get confused, such as me.